Well, hello, True Life youth and families. Hope you guys are doing good. This is a crazy time. I promise you, youth, you will remember this probably the rest of your lives. This will be your moment that you hearken back to and tell your kids about. It's who'd have thought? Here we are, I think 44 days into our shelter in place, give or take a day, and not sure when this is going to all change or when you guys are going to go back to school, when we're going to get to meet again. I hope you've been using the time wisely. I hope that you have taken seriously what you've been taught, what you learned from me, from Hume Lake, about God, and use this time to grow in Him. He is worthy of our first, and He promises that those who honor Him, and when you honor someone, think of an awards banquet or something that you go to, you put them to the front, you elevate them. Those who honor Him, He will honor. He's gonna honor it when you give Him your first fruit. And as I teach our men's group over and over, maturity in Christ is not automatic with belief. It's something that requires an intentional decision, just like being good at a musician, an instrument, sports, school, even having a good relationship with someone takes investment, it takes commitment and decision. And I hope you've been doing that. I was thinking we have an audio Bible that's 70 hours long to listen to the whole Bible. And many of you probably spend over an hour a day when school is in session traveling to or from school, I would guess. And thought if you had started using that hour a day to read or listen to the Bible when this shelter in place began, you'd be 2/3 of the way through the Bible right now. Pretty crazy, huh? Anyway, some things I wanted to share with you. I don't know when we're going to meet again. We're just waiting to hear counties and guidelines and getting a lot of mixed information. I know there's going to be a lot that gets sifted out in the months ahead, as I imagine there'll be constitutional challenges, some great discussions about, what's being done. People so passionate about both sides of the responses to this. I do believe there's been some constitutional issues that will need to be addressed with some of the rules, but the issues of where do our rights come from? Do governments give rights, or does God? It's something maybe we can talk about, or I'll teach on at some point. And be careful how you answer that, because it should define your entire view of government, of God, of man, who He is. So I wanted to, like I said, give a few updates and things. I have a little compilation of a few slices from our Hume Lake video. I know that many of you did not get to see that, and I'm not sure when we'll be able to show that again in a public settings and give you that second chance. So here's a few minutes from it, from those of you who didn't get to see it. Those of you who did, enjoy the memories.
Let's I keep fighting. In you I find my worth, in you I find my identity.
So speaking of Hume Lake, Denny Beaver made a shelf for our golden mailbox, and lady in our church, Debbie Ritchie, made some signs to hang below it, reminding us of the 3 times we've won the golden mailbox. I want to show you a picture of the signs that she made that we'll be putting up at the church here soon. So have you been reading the Bible? That would be a question I have for you. What have you been doing to grow in God, to put Him first? I have a firm commitment. I share this with our fellowship, but I don't think the words bored and Christian should ever be in the same sentence. We are involved in a spiritual war that is mighty, and eternity is at stake. We have access to the throne room of God to pray. We have the written word from the creator of the universe to study and grow. We have people around us that need his hope, his love, his light. Um, I hope that what I'm saying clicks with you. You have a privilege of talking personally to the one who spoke, and from his breath came forth stars, universe, galaxies, life itself. He calls forth from nothing into existence that which he wills with a simple word. I suggested to you early on in this that you read one of the Gospels. I wish I could ask you in person, how have you doing on that? Have you? Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. Jesus said, if you've seen me, you've seen the Father. If you confused who God is, read the Gospels, see who Jesus is, and you will get a picture. He is the exact imprint of the Father's nature. Call me, text me with your questions. I can give you suggestions, I can point you in a direction, but I can't make you go there. So I just would love to be a part of helping you on your journey to grow as a young man or woman after God's heart, preparing you to be the man or woman of God, a soldier for Christ that this nation, this world, your people around you need. If you're looking for something fun to watch, our family posted a video the other day. We call it The Rocks Cry Out. It's something we put together. It's 40 minutes long, and it's capturing our journey all over the western U.S., our journeys collecting fossils, the evidence for the Genesis, flood, and Noah. But we had a lot of fun doing it. We did it back before we knew much about film and stuff in 2017, the clips, and never did anything with them. But we got villains and chases. It's kind of an Indiana Jones type thing, and had a lot of fun doing it. And just our hope was that the fossils we found, if we could share them, would be an encouragement to people to trust God's word as it's written. So I'm going to show you a few clips from it, and then I'll put the link to it down in the descriptions below this video in the YouTube page, so you can go to that. But here's a few slices from the video. How come no one ever takes pictures of me? Wow, this is cool. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, this isn't about me. I'd rather you read the Bible, rather you spend time in prayer. But if you are looking for something to watch and something that might encourage your faith, build you up, make you laugh, our family, watch us ham it up. Green screen theater premieres and everything else, then that's there to watch. It's something you might enjoy, and if not, it's fine. There's no hurt feelings. So I wanted to close with something that Abigail shared with us in our family worship time. We take from 7:40 to 8 a.m. each morning together as a family, and that comes after each of us have taken our personal quiet time and kind of share what each of us heard from God or God's putting on our heart. And um, Abigail was sharing some things with us, which really felt like God was speaking to her, and she ended up writing it down. And so Marianne and I asked if she'd be willing to read it, that you and the True Life family would be able to hear it. And so I'm going to put her, she agreed. That's how I'm going to end this. I think it'll bless you. If you have thoughts, send them to me. Let me know things I can share, pictures I can put on to show the other kids what you're doing, what your room looks like if you're studying or whatever. Help us stay connected. All right? God bless you guys. Miss you. I hope we can see each other soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
Hi there, True Life. I hope that you all are doing well. I wanted to read to you something that I had written. This is what I feel like God has sort of been speaking to me through my quiet time as I've been working through the Old Testament. And it's titled, Don't Be a Whitewashed Tomb. In Matthew 23, Jesus rebukes the Pharisees, or religious leaders of the Jews, because he saw in them that even though they performed their token religious duties, they themselves were in sin. He says in Matthew 23:3, For they preach but do not practice. Some of the many things that Jesus called the Pharisees included hypocrites, blind guides, and whitewashed tombs. He says to them, Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you are like whitewashed tombs, which outwardly appear beautiful, but within are full of dead people's bones and all uncleanness. This was a perfect picture of the Pharisees, because even though they performed their necessary duties of a Pharisee, their heart was wicked and sinful, yet quick to judge those beneath them. Unfortunately, among professing Christians, there are still those who fall under the description of a whitewashed tomb. Christians are not exempt from sin, and many perform their Christian duties when they think that someone is watching, but when it appears that they are out of the spotlight, their life and choices reflect nothing different than that of a non-Christian. However, God is always watching, and He knows if your life is reflecting the choices and behavior of a true Christian. 1 Samuel 16:7 says, For the Lord sees not as man sees. Man looks on the outward appearance, but the Lord looks on the heart. This verse comes from the chapter when God is leading the prophet Samuel to anoint the new king, which would ultimately be David. But before Samuel sees young David, he looks at his older brother Eliab and thinks that he must be the one the Lord has chosen to be king because he was tall, strong, and handsome. But then comes the verse previously mentioned, when God warned Samuel that what is more important than the outward good looks is the state of his heart. I believe that this verse can also be applied spiritually. God cares more about a person's heart than that they perform their token religious duties. Another verse that contains a similar meaning comes in 1 Samuel 15:22, when Samuel is speaking to King Saul, who had just disobeyed the Lord's commands. Has the Lord as great delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices as in obeying the voice of the Lord? Behold, to obey is better than sacrifice, and to listen than the fat of rams. While this verse is literally talking about sacrificing, there are figurative sacrifices that people do today. Modern sacrifices might include the expected attendance of church each week, going to youth group, or token prayers before meals. While all of these are important, none of them matter if the rest of your life is lived in sin. What the verse above states is that God would rather you to obey Him and His word in your whole life than just look like a Christian on the outside. These instances in the Bible and many more explain that God doesn't want His followers to appear like good Christians on the outside, but be filled with sin to the core. He doesn't want Christians to be like the Pharisees, looking righteous on the outside, but worldly on the inside. Live to honor, obey, and reflect Christ in your whole life, not just on the surface. Don't be a whitewashed tomb. Well, I hope that this blesses you guys. I miss you. I'm looking forward to when we can meet again. Bye.